Before we get into the analysis, welcome to the prediction pitch. If you enjoy proper football breakdowns, tactics, game plans, predictions, not just lazy score guesses, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps the video get recommended, and it helps me keep making this kind of content. These videos take time, so your support genuinely matters. Right, let's talk about France versus Paraguay. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking this is a formality, France, 4 wins from 4, scoring for fun, Paraguay, the side barely anyone outside South America was talking about a month ago. On paper, this looks like a bloodbath. But here's the thing about knockout football. Paper doesn't play the game. Paraguay have just done something that should worry every single France fan watching this. They took Germany, 4-time world champions, a side that had about 75% of the ball and battered them for 120 minutes. And they still dragged them all the way to penalties. Not 0-0, not some clean, perfect defensive miracle. Germany did score, but that almost makes the point stronger. Paraguay conceded, suffered, bent, nearly broke, and still didn't disappear. 1-1 after extra time, penalties. And Germany's perfect World Cup shootout record? Gone. So this isn't just France versus Paraguay. It's France's attack against a team that can suffer for 2 hours and still stay alive. And that, for me, is a genuinely fascinating puzzle. Because Paraguay aren't coming here to dominate the ball. They're coming here to survive the storm. And if you survive long enough against a team playing with this much freedom and this much firepower, funny things start to happen. Let's talk about where both teams are in their heads, because that matters just as much as the tactics here. France are flying. Deschamps has called this his last tournament in charge, and there's something about that which tends to bring a squad together rather than pull it apart. They're unbeaten, they've scored 3 or more goals in 5 straight World Cup games. That's never happened before in the history of the competition. When a team's doing that, they're not playing with fear, they're playing with freedom. The kind of freedom where fullbacks bomb forward without a second thought, because why wouldn't they? Everything's working. Now Paraguay. Completely different story, and honestly, the more romantic one. This is a team that hadn't been at a World Cup since 2010. They lost their opener to the USA, 4-1, an absolute hiding on paper. And instead of falling apart, they beat Turkey, scraped a draw with Australia, and then knocked out Germany. That's not a team riding their luck. That's a team discovering an identity under pressure. Organize, absorb, don't panic, and wait for your moment. The pressure here is completely lopsided. France are expected to win this. Everyone expects it, which actually creates its own kind of danger. The pressure of "you should win this easily" is a different beast to "you have nothing to lose." Paraguay have got nothing to lose. They are already the story of this World Cup. Everything from here is a bonus. That's a dangerous mentality to play against. So how do France actually play? In one word, relentlessly. Deschamps has built a side here that just doesn't sit back and manage games. Against Sweden, they had 25 shots. 25. That's not control. That's domination. The front line, Mbappé, Dembélé, Olise, Barcola, rotate and interchange constantly, which makes them a nightmare to man mark because you genuinely don't know who's going to be where in 3 seconds' time. Mbappé is the obvious focal point, 6 goals in 4 matches, and his pace in behind is the single biggest weapon on the pitch today. But it's Olise who's quietly been running the show. 5 assists. And he's the one who unlocks a deep block with a clever pass rather than just brute force. That's exactly what you need against a team like Paraguay who are going to sit in. Defensively, France press high when they need to, but honestly they don't need to that often, because they are so dominant in possession the opposition barely gets the ball anyway. The one soft spot, if there is one, that high line. Koundé, Upamecano, Saliba, Digne are all comfortable stepping up, which is great when you're squeezing the game, but it does leave that bit of grass in behind. Against a team with real pace, that's a worry. Against Paraguay's more direct runners, it's at least worth a mention. What France want here is simple. Control the ball, control the tempo, force Paraguay to make mistakes under sustained pressure, and let the quality up top do the rest. Paraguay under Gustavo Alfaro are the complete opposite picture. This is not a team trying to entertain you. This is a team trying to frustrate you into submission. Structurally, they're compact, disciplined, and they defend in numbers. That's how they frustrated Germany for 2 full hours. They didn't keep Germany out completely, but they did something almost as impressive. They survived the pressure, survived the equalizer, survived extra time, and still had the nerve to win it from the spot. They don't chase the ball high up the pitch, they let you have it in areas that don't hurt them, and they close down hard the moment it gets near their box. It's the kind of defending that looks unspectacular, until you realize the other team hasn't had a clear chance in 90 minutes. Going forward, they're not about patient build-up. It's transitions, set pieces, and moments of individual quality, mainly through Julio Enciso, who is genuinely their best asset. He's direct, he can beat a man, and he scored the goal that got them here in the first place. Alongside him, you've got runners from deep, players who arrive late into the box rather than sitting up front waiting for service. That's a real weapon against a high line because it's much harder to track a midfielder arriving from 20 yards than a striker you're already watching. What Paraguay want is obvious: make the game ugly, take away rhythm. Frustrate France into rushing things and then hit them on the counter or through a set piece when the opportunity comes. So here's the actual matchup, stripped right down. France want rhythm, Paraguay want friction. France have the tools to win this match. Paraguay have the tools to make it deeply uncomfortable for about 70 minutes. It's pace and quality versus shape and discipline. It's a team that wants the game open against a team that wants the game closed. And the danger for France isn't Paraguay's attack. Realistically, they're not going to outcreate France. The danger is Paraguay's ability to make France impatient. Because impatient football against a well-organized low block is exactly how you concede a sloppy goal on the counter, or waste 90 minutes on a scoreline you didn't deserve. A few things that could genuinely decide this game. The first 20 minutes. If France score early, this match is basically over, because Paraguay's whole plan relies on staying in it. If it's still 0-0 at the half-hour mark, suddenly Paraguay start believing, and that changes everything. Wide areas. France's full-backs pushing high is where a lot of their overloads come from, but it's also exactly the space Paraguay's counter-attacks want to exploit, the second the ball turns over. Set pieces. Against a low block like this, a lot of the story gets written from a corner or a free kick rather than open play. Don't be shocked if the first goal comes from a dead ball. And game management. If it's still level after 60 minutes, that's when you find out who's actually calmer. France have the players to stay composed, but composure under a scoreline you didn't expect is a different test to composure when you're already 2-0 up. For France, this is about patience with intent, not patience for its own sake. They need to play fast but not rushed, and there's a real difference. Fast football is dangerous. Rushed football is just giving the ball away with enthusiasm. Against a team sitting this deep, the temptation is to force things, to try the killer ball too early. France need to keep circulating, keep stretching Paraguay side to side, and wait for the gap rather than manufacture one that isn't there. They also need to be ruthless the moment a chance does appear. Against Sweden, they had 25 shots. They can't afford that kind of profligacy against a team that will make you pay for every missed sitter by staying in the game. And defensively, don't get careless with that high line just because you're dominating the ball. One rushed clearance, one Enciso run in behind, and suddenly it's a different match. For Paraguay, survival is the plan, but survival alone doesn't win football matches. You still need a way to actually hurt them. They need the same discipline that took Germany all the way to penalties. Stay compact, don't overcommit bodies forward, and make France work for every single yard. But they can't just defend for 90 minutes and hope. They need Enciso to find one moment, one bit of magic, one transition where 2 or 3 of their runners break at pace before France's defense resets. Set pieces are their best equalizer against superior quality, and mentally, they need to embrace being the underdog rather than fear it. The second Paraguay start defending like they're scared of conceding, that's when the floodgates tend to open. Right, let's talk scenarios, because this isn't a lazy France win, and we all go home. If France score first, this is basically job done. Paraguay's whole game plan is built on staying in the contest, and once that's gone, they don't have the attacking quality to chase a game against this French defense. If Paraguay somehow score first, chaos, genuine chaos. Suddenly, you've got a France side that's never had to come from behind this tournament, against a Paraguay side that's already proven it can hold a lead under enormous pressure. That's when an upset becomes very real. If it's still 0-0 after 60 minutes, that favors Paraguay far more than people realize. The longer it stays level, the more it becomes a mental battle. And that's exactly the kind of match that can go to extra time. And from there, anything can happen on penalties, as Germany found out the hard way. Is there upset potential? Yes, genuinely, more than the odds suggest. But is it likely? No. France simply have more ways to win this than Paraguay have ways to stop them. My prediction? France 2-1 Paraguay. Not comfortable and not a rout. A match where Paraguay makes them sweat, get a goal for their troubles, and it's just not quite enough. But I'm not saying that like this is some easy casual win. France should win if they manage the game properly. Big difference.